We're here to talk about the Farm Bill with two special guests, First Vice President Eddie Melton and Director of National Affairs and Government Relations, Erica King, on this month's edition of Farm to Frankfort. Erica, good to have you on this month's edition of Farm to Frankfort. Been with us since January of this year, so got several months under the belt, got through March policy development, July policy development. We were glad to pull you out of the swamp of Washington and bring you here to Kentucky Farm Bureau. And your experience in Washington and working on the Farm Bill in 2018, tell us a little bit about the process of getting a Farm Bill.
Thanks, Kyle. It's great to be here today, and it's great to be with Farm Bureau and be out of that swamp that you just mentioned. I spent about 6 years up in D.C. and had the pleasure of working for Senator Paul as his counsel for agriculture, and that allowed me to work on the 2018 Farm Bill. And I can tell you that it is, in theory, a simple process, but there's a lot of pieces that go into it.
Absolutely.
As you know, the Farm Bill, we've had one since starting back in the 1930s. It's reauthorized every 5 years, or at least it's supposed to be.
Yeah, we hope so.
There have been a few instances in there where we've gone a few extra years in there, but we're hopeful this year that that's not the case. We're hoping to get a Farm Bill done on time, but you know, just the typical process, a bill like the Farm Bill can originate either in the House or the Senate. It doesn't matter which one. But it does have to get approved by both chambers of Congress. So typically they'll end up going to conference and they'll hash out their differences there. But we've got a lot to work through this year. And part of that is that major price tag that we've seen attached to it. You know, Congressional Budget Office has said that they're estimating about $1.5 trillion for this year's Farm Bill over the span of about 10 years. And a lot of that, roughly 82% of that cost is attributed to the nutrition title, particularly SNAP and WIC. But within all this spending, you've got about 4 different titles that are part of mandatory funding, meaning that they have to be funded every year, and then you've got a couple titles in there that are more discretionary funding, so it's up to the appropriators to get that done. But like I said, we want to make sure that those titles are funded as they need to be, and SNAP's going to be, it already is a big talking point for the members of Congress.
And that nutrition title, it is 80 to 82%, but that is money that goes to folks in need and is ultimately spent on food. It is spent back to buying agricultural products. And I think that's important to mention. It also is what brings both sides of the aisle together, Republicans and Democrats, rural and urban. And even though 80% is on food, 82% is on food, it is really the piece that gets us to getting a Farm Bill passed and ultimately signed into law, which includes the other 18 to 20%, Eddie, which are really where our main priorities come in when you look at commodity and crop and conservation and some of Farm Bureau's kind of priorities.
Right. We'll get into those in a little bit, but Erica, we're really glad to have you at Farm Bureau. We watched Erica for those years that she worked in D.C. and she knows her way around, Kyle. We saw that when we were interviewing and the time that she spent working on the Hill, and we're excited to have you here. She does have a little bit of background there that she comes to us from Tennessee. So I think we had a contract that she can't wear the orange in the office here, but you've agreed to that, I think. But
it
anyway,
was a handshake agreement.
There you go. Okay, but anyway,
it was there.
But
we've
no
got
bright orange swag.
That's right.
Yes,
we got her
I'm in
closer.
all black today.
We got her closer to home anyway.
That's right.
But we're excited to have her here, and she brings a wealth of knowledge to us. So we're glad you're here and going to be helping us as we work on those national issues here and letting our members know what's important. But
Absolutely.
Kyle, back to the Farm Bill. You know, that's the Farm Bill is and we love calling it the Farm Bill. There will be another name that gets associated with it, but that keeps it tied to agriculture, I think. And a lot of people want to separate those two out. But that's never been we think that's important that we keep it tied together with the food and nutrition title, because that, as you said, brings everybody together. But some of our priorities, you know, probably the one thing that we hear the most is keep crop insurance intact. We want that crop insurance title in there, Erica, that our folks can make sure with the cost of production, what we've got going on now, that we're able to have that protection there that helps us, and especially our young and beginning farmers, with the protection they need to get loans. So that's an important piece to us. Of course, the commodity title is always important to us. Now, we've been through a period of time to where we do have prices have been better than what they've been in the future. So we really haven't needed those programs, the ARC and the PLC programs. But those are still important that we've got those back there and we need them. And then we get into the conservation title. And I think that probably most everybody in the state and in the country are using those programs in that conservation title, that we can do a better job on our farms and do the things that we need to do to protect our farms and protect the environment. And all farmers are participating in those programs, and we want to make sure that those are funded as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Erica did a great job securing a guest speaker recently to our kind of Farm Bill working group and our board with Judge Vaden, who has a vast knowledge in trade and how important trade is, and rural development title and so many other things that impact rural Kentucky. So I appreciate you doing that and really explaining how important every single title is to not just agriculture, but all of rural America. The Farm Bill is such an important piece. Really just kind of any kind of closing words of encouragement to our members and how they can help educate and advocate members of Congress on how we can get a Farm Bill. Any kind of closing comments from either of you all?
I would say, just especially having worked on the Hill, that it is so important for constituents to reach out to their members of Congress. They want to hear from their constituents. They tally up those phone calls that come in. They keep track of the messages, and it does make an impact on them. They need to hear those stories, those firsthand accounts of how Farm Bill programs impact their day-to-day lives, whether it's a SNAP program or crop insurance. But those members need to hear about it. So I'd encourage our Farm Bureau members to reach out to their representatives and senators and make sure that their voice is heard.
Absolutely, absolutely. Eddie, any closing comments?
Of course, you know, Kyle, our board of directors has been working on this issue for most of the year now, talking about Farm Bill and what we see in it. So we were glad to have Judge Vaden in this week, and his knowledge about trade is unbelievable, and trade's so important to agriculture that our production has gone up substantially over time, and we need to get rid of those products, and trade needs to be on the forefront as we talk about the Farm Bill. You know, the Farm Bill expires on September 30th, but I think we don't have to have it in place until the first of the year, so it's giving Congress some time to be able to work on this, but we are wanting it. I think the 2018 Farm Bill was one of the only farm bills that we've ever gotten done on time. So Erica, I guess your work there was well, you got it done on time while you were there representing us. But hopefully we will get it in place, and it'll be something that will be good for agriculture in the country, and especially to our growers here in the state of Kentucky. So we appreciate you being here, Eric. Again, we're excited to have you.
Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, and we're going to keep working on the Farm Bill, but I think you gave incredible advice that our members, what they can do is just contact their legislators and let them know firsthand how the Farm Bill impacts them, and those members of Congress will listen and take that into consideration, and we'll get a Farm Bill done.
That's right.
So, all right. Well, thank you all.